Hello, I'm Lisa Tyler, host of Senior Connections. This is a program of Senior Resources, your local area agency on aging. And we do this program to provide information on what can be a confusing network of services for older adults and their families and caregivers. We're here to help navigate that network and share some information every month with you that we hope will be helpful as you, either for yourself or somebody else, need to find some services. Our topic today is really exciting for me. Care Connections. It's a new program of Senior Resources, just a couple of months old. And so we're going to talk about that, what it could mean to you or someone you know, and find out everything we want to know and more. And so with me today are Mike Fields, who is our manager of the Care Connections program, and Lisa Evans, who is a companion care provider. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
Glad to have you. So as I said, it's new to Senior Resources, an in-home activity-based program. I don't want to give away more of it, Mike, because you both are going to tell us, but it's different from a lot of the programs that Senior Resources does in that it's a private pay service where we have other programs that you're eligible based on finances. This is for people who have some money. So Mike, let's talk a little bit about it. Why did Senior Resources decide to get into this program?
Senior Resources felt they had a gap there. They were not able to help everybody, and it's one thing that Senior Resources is very adamant about. Is anybody that calls, they want to be able to help. They want to be a resource for their community. And with that gap, we didn't have a service that was a private pay service. We cover a lot of bases. They do a lot of good things at Senior Resource, but this was a gap. And they wanted to fill that gap somehow. How do we help the people that do have money, that still need the services, want the services in the home? So, we put together a plan of getting Care Connections together so we could provide in-home companion care. We want it to be activity-based. We want to keep the senior involved as much as possible. The two big things in our lives that really have a huge impact are our socialization and our activity. As we age, of course, our activity levels drop, and we tend to lose contact with a lot of people, and those two things hurt us a lot. You notice if you can go in and get somebody very active or more active, and get the socialization, they live a more productive life. They're happier. So Senior Resources, we put this program together. We look for people very specific, like Lisa, who's very, wants to go in and help people become more active in their home. Let's play games. Let's scrapbook. Let's, do things for the kids' food basket, color the bags, things like that. Of course, yeah, we help in the home with other things, household chores, things like that. But the thing is to get them actively involved. And the program's shown tremendous success right out of the gate. Very excited the way it goes. We've been able to bring terrific people like Lisa in. A nice thing to note too, Lisa works for Senior Resources. She's an employee of. She's not contracted or through an employment agency. She goes through the same vetting process that you and I do. We spend a lot of time to try to bring in the right people for the program. And Lisa's been a phenomenal asset to the program. She's had some tremendous success stories already, getting really good feedback. So the idea of what we wanted to do is fill that gap in the services we provide. Right out of the gate, we're hitting the ground running.
Great. Well, I remember before you had come on staff a year ago or so, we did a strategic planning process, or a lot of our management and a lot of people, probably about a third of the agency. And that was one of the things that came up was, as our CEO, Pam Curtis, likes to say, we're an area agency on aging. We're not an area agency on aging for the poor or for the frail elderly.
Correct.
We are for them as well, but we are for all people who are aging.
Correct.
So you're right, this is an important thing. So let's talk a little bit about how it's different from other programs that might be out there, because there are some other programs that are doing something similar. How is this one different?
There's a lot of home care. Home care. There's a lot of medical care in the community, but the whole design of the program is that activity based, the socialization and the activity. We don't do the medical care, and we're not just a housekeeper. We will go in and help in the home, if they need some help with steam cleaning a carpet. some help in the kitchen, maybe some cooking, things like that, as long as we can get them actively involved with it. We feel that they're going to be much happier if they're a part of keeping their home clean. They're a part of preparing their meals, not just other activities as well, but there's some satisfaction there. People pride themselves on being able to keep a good home, and as we age, we tend not to see as well. Our energy levels aren't quite as high, so they still want to be actively involved with it, and being able to help them with that, I think that's a key. A lot of services will come in and do it for you. No, we want to come in and do it with you.
We're not hired help, we're companions.
Exactly.
Trying to do something.
And that's kind of tough. A lot of people, especially senior women, they're very proud. They don't like to admit that, I could use some help here. And so a lot of times we start off, okay, we'll come in and help with the housekeeping, but what other things do you like to do? And one of the women that Lisa works with we had to go in and clean the windows. That's all she wanted. She wanted someone to clean the windows, but she really, really loved to play cribbage. We kind of we started off that way. The family said, we really need somebody in here with her, some more eyes on, some help, some activity, because she was getting very sedentary. So yes, we went in with the idea of cleaning windows, and maybe we'll play a game of cribbage before we have dinner, type thing. And funny thing is, once Lisa broke out the cribbage board, windows are forgotten, and they have some rather energetic games of cribbage now, which are pretty fantastic.
So Mike, you had a background, you had a business that did something similar to this before,
yes,
before you went back into a different field for a while. Tell us a little bit about what you did in that business and how that makes you appropriate to do this, because it seems it's a natural for you.
It is. The business we had before, we worked with seniors. We had different programs. We had the PERS units.
Emergency response system.
The buttons that you can push if there's an emergency. I had a program here in the West Michigan area that covered Muskegon, Kent, Ottawa counties, and we also did housing. We did family counseling and finding housing options as well. And it just we kind of naturally grew into doing a similar type program with companion care because a lot of people were in that transition time. They weren't quite ready to go, but they did need some help, so there was more of a transition reason that we got into companion care. And I think we still see the same thing with what we're doing now. We know, we're working with elderly for the most part. And they're still good at home, but their activity levels are down, their socialization is pretty minimum, and we just want to boost that. If they're happier, healthier, we can help them with meals, we can observe medication management type things, we can observe sleep patterns, things like that. If we can keep them happier and healthier, they'll be able to stay home much longer.
And we have a focus for the next couple months through our National Association on social isolation and loneliness, and this is exactly one example of those programs, because that's a huge, huge health concern for people. I just heard that social isolation in seniors can be the equivalent of smoking 15 cigarettes a day in the things that it leads to. So I think the timing for this, we got a little ahead of that, has been really exciting. There's a really great energy, I feel. So Lisa, tell us a little bit about you and how you came into this. What got you interested in being a care companion?
The job I had before, I've had for 25 years, and a small part of it was dealing with customers. Well, actually a big part of it was dealing with customers, but the most rewarding part of it, which was small, was genuinely helping somebody that needed help and having that amount of time to spend with them. Some people, they might not see anybody, they might not talk to anybody, and if I ran across them at my other job and they wanted to talk and tell me a whole story that took 5, 10, 20 minutes, I was more than happy to do it. And I described this job to one of my best friends about 3 years ago, and not too long ago she called me up and she's like, you have to apply. This is the job you told me about 3 years ago. And it's been fantastic. Perfect. It's very fulfilling. At the end of the day, if you can sit down and say, I helped somebody do something, I made them smile, I made a difference, that's what counts. And that's what I get to do every time I see a client.
That's what we like to see. To see your face light up when you talk about it is evidence enough to me. So one of the things that differentiates this program is the focus on the activities, it seems. So it's not a medical service. We're not doing toiletry. We're not bathing.
Correct.
You said we might do some light housework, work with somebody on meals, but we're not doing what lots of other very valuable programs in the community do that we partner with, and we fund services for those for other things. So the focus on activities to keep them happy and healthy. Tell us, can you give us some examples of what you do? I know you've got, how many clients do you have? How many?
Right now I have 4.
Okay. So they're all different, I'm sure, because
way
you're tailoring
different.
it to what they do. So give us some examples of what you might do with somebody without sharing names.
Oh, yeah. Like he said, I think everybody that I've worked with so far that I go to see, they've been reluctant. And I think after the first time I go in and meet them, that changes significantly. I have one companion that she's a little feisty and resistant to change, and she's really funny. And she used to play a specific card game with her husband or friend in another state during the winter months in Michigan. And I've never played that game before, but she, I mean, just going into her house for a few hours and playing that game with her brings out stories of when I used to do this, and we talk about the ocean and restaurants and books and all women, especially the older you get, we get a little gossipy, and she loves going into the drama of the day when she used to play that game in Florida. And then she's a little thing, short like me, and reaching, and she's very picky about her house and how clean it is, and there's a few things she needs help with. So dusting a ceiling fan, steam cleaning a spot on a carpet, helping her wash her dog, things like that. Those are things I do with her. And I have another companion that we have a lot of things in common. Harleys and big dogs and hunting and things like that. And we do a lot of activities where we're working on helping him develop some hand-eye coordination and recovery from some physical issues, because I was telling him earlier, we want him to, one, be active and get better and get to that point where he can be on the Harley again and go shoot a deer again and do those kinds of fun things. And then I have a companion. She didn't want help. We were talking about her earlier. And the window lady. I haven't washed a window yet. First day I met her, Mike was there, and her son and daughter-in-law were there, and we met. We played cribbage. And I just do things like, I don't give them medicine, but I see if they've taken their meds for the day. I ask them questions about how their day's been and how they're feeling, and making sure that they're getting their meal at the right time if I happen to be there at that time of day. And we're in it the second time we went to see her, and every time since then. She's got the cribbage board ready. She's got them shuffled. She's ready to go.
Wow.
So just board games, conversation, talking about books, crafts and activities, painting pumpkins for Halloween, decorating lunch bags for kids' lunches at school, hand-eye coordination stuff, just getting one of my companions, just getting her to, she has a couple of her favorite shows that she's not going to miss no matter what, and that's cool, to get her up during each commercial and have her take a trip around the house and tell me about this picture or tell me about that piece of antique furniture, things like that. And that also gives the other family members a chance to, one, have a little bit of stress-free time, either staying at home and just having a few minutes to themselves, or getting a chance to leave home knowing the person that is with me, that they're fine, they're okay, I'm taking care of them for those 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, however long I'm there. So.
Perfect. So that's a great segue. Is there a minimum and maximum hours for a client, Mike?
There is. There's no minimum visits per week. There's a minimum 2 hours per visit.
Okay.
And that's just to have somebody drive out there and stay there.
That can go fast.
It goes real
It
fast.
goes fast. It
Most
does.
people want to increase that once that starts. So Yeah, they see
So-
the value in it. You know, for the families, this is a tremendous respite time. It gives them the break they need. As we know, caring for an aging loved one, the caregivers, has a tremendous impact on their lives. They need that respite time. They need that me time. They need that time just to get away from it, step away. As any mother could tell you, some time to step away from it. Being, you know, those are very stressful jobs. You know, they're tremendously rewarding, but you need to be able to step away. So there's you know, a very good point there. There's a good respite, you know, for the family as well.
So is there a maximum, we're a Monday through Friday program, we don't do
Correct.
weekends, we don't do holidays. A maximum number of hours?
No.
I mean, you could do 40 hours a week if somebody wanted that.
We have done more than 40
You'd
hours a
split-
week.
Oh, have you? We have
Yes.
somebody with that?
No.
You split that up, that's not one person? 'cause
No, at that point,
would be
no.
exhausting
We
for that person.
typically, if we have a care provider go in, we want the same person with them all the time. But there's a certain amount of time, no, that we don't. We start splitting it up. We have one client that needed 24-hour care, and you know, we had to care for be there with them while excuse me, while the spouse was at work. And of course, that's a little more than not 8 hours because they had to drive there, drive home. So yeah, that was broken up. But other than that, we keep one person, one client.
I remember Mike telling me, Lisa, that you had a client who you had for a little bit and then went into a nursing home, but still where normally we wouldn't be, right? Because they've got care there,
Right.
but requested you to come, which is
Yes.
kind of amazing to me because we've only done this program for a couple of months,
Yes.
really. We're in November. We only hired you
August.
in August.
Yes.
Or July or something. So we really have hit the ground running. So you had
Yeah.
somebody who came to love you so much that they still wanted you to come see them in the nursing home?
Yeah, and I'm glad because I would have wanted to do that too. She was the window lady. She is her love of just reading and education and children and that social thing that you guys were talking about earlier. She's been a part of that her whole life, and I thought it was really exciting. It made me smile. She did get injured, and she had to go into a home for some healing, and she's still there, and hopefully she'll be done soon and get to go home, or maybe she'll be somewhere else. But no matter what, I guess one of the first things she was concerned about when she found out she had to go to the home was I still going to be able to come play cards with her? And I thought that was awesome, and I have actually. I've gone to play cards with her
Excellent.
a couple times just to see how she's doing. So.
Well, that speaks a lot to the relationship
Yeah.
that
Making a
occurs.
difference in people's
Absolutely.
lives. Senior Resources wants to be relevant in the community. You know, that's why they put this together. Lisa's part of Senior Resources. Lisa's relevant to that family. And we are, you know, it's just, we're reaching deeper into the community. We're able to help.
So that was actually my next question too. What do you hear from family members about the impact this makes on them? So you can see the impact that it does on the participant, but what about family members? Have you talked, either one of you, talked to many of them?
I've talked to a couple family members of one of my companions. While I'm there with the companion, they have a chance to come in and go out, so I spend time with her. And we haven't really said a whole lot to each other about what they feel like I'm accomplishing in the home, but they have told him what they feel like I'm accomplishing in the home. So.
I'm in touch with families on a
Right.
weekly basis. The response has been fantastic. We've been able to help tremendously. One client unfortunately had some medical issues, and the husband told me this last week. He said that the last month has been the best improvement he's seen in 2.5 years. Unfortunately, she had a stroke, and the family's been struggling to get her, you know, to move forward in, you know, her hand-eye coordination, her speech, things like that. Lisa, in the month and a half she's been with her, that's the best progress they've seen in 2.5 years. So yes, families have been very happy. Other families, we've been able to help get them organized. We spent a month helping somebody reorganize all their files. They had statements, you know, bank, insurance, things like that, going back for 20 years. They had to downsize, so, you know, half of the bedroom was full of files. And, you know, taking care of all that, getting rid of the stuff they don't need, keeping the stuff they do. The families have been extremely happy that we've been able to help organize their lives, help improve their quality of life, and give them that break.
So as of today, we're in mid-November. How many clients do we have in this program, roughly?
8 active clients right now. The program has had over a dozen, but we actually had just started with, the companion care 2 months ago.
Right.
I came in August. We put a lot of the program together.
Hiring takes some time, and
well, we
got to vet everybody. And
yeah, all of that had to take place beforehand. So in a short period of time, yeah, it's taken off quite well, and there's a lot of families that we're working with.
And we haven't really promoted it heavily yet. We really are, because you've said many times, I know, in different meetings, we want to do this measured. We want to be careful to not grow too fast, and we want to make sure, because we've been hiring, you've got to hire the right people to do that. And so you don't just, you're trying to match people up personality-wise and their interests with who their provider is, right? So we want to make sure, it kind of reminds me of Big Brothers Big Sisters. You don't just take the next person on the list and take the staff person and plug them in. We really want to do this right for the participants and their families and for the community as a whole.
Yeah, we want to do it on purpose. And we need to take that time to do that. So yeah, we have done it in a very measured manner. We've interviewed quite a few people. The response when we put out an ad in the Senior Perspectives, and otherwise it was just word of mouth. But hundreds of resumes came in, hundreds, and we started looking at the people that would fit the program, the way the program is designed, and we're just taking our time and slow growing it from there. But the people we bring in are the key.
Right.
Senior Resources has a wonderful team. The team I came in to work with, yourself, Steve, Pam, Nicole, a phenomenal team. We had to put a very non-traditional program together for Senior Resources. They were not used to having a fee-for-service. They're a nonprofit organization, and this was a game changer. So slowly put it together, do it right, bring in the right people, and it's taken off. We've done it in a very measured way, but yeah, in this short time we've been there, it's taken off quite well.
So are there any limitations for people who can come in? Anything on physical or cognitive or, I don't know, age, finance? Well, they have to be able to pay for it because it's pay for service. But any other, are there limitations? You mentioned somebody with a stroke, so.
No, the thing is it's activity-based, non-medical activity-based. And by activity, it's whatever they can do. They may only be able to sit there and offer support, clean a window, and the activity is what they can do. But like I said, the big thing is it's non-medical. We're not bathing, toileting, things like that.
So they have to be able to do basic care for themselves.
Yes.
But they could have some speech impediments or be recovering from a stroke or some other illness. We're not occupational therapists. We're not coming in. We're not trained to do that. But we can do some fun activities that also help boost what they're probably getting in an OT session, I'm guessing.
Right. Just things you would do for a loved one. If this was your husband or your wife or your child, your grandmother, your grandfather, we want to look at it from that perspective. Let's keep them active. Let's not let them become so sedentary. All they do is sit in that chair, and somebody comes in and talks to them, once or twice a week.
Right.
We want to approach it from that way. We want to just get them active, healthy, happy. We're looking at their nutrition, their hydration, and asking about sleep. Lisa mentioned talking to them, seeing where they're at with their medications and meals and stuff. Those things are controllable. The nutrition, hydration, sleep patterns, med management type thing. But if we can observe that, help the family manage those things better.
Then you're reporting that back to the family, what you're seeing, what they might be telling you that they might not tell somebody else.
Right.
Exactly.
Kind of, we're not fixing it. We're just relaying it that, we think there might be a concern about this. You might want to have an expert look at that or look into it.
And having good people like Lisa, that can come in, that can see that, and get them motivated and stuff. We can have the feedback, but also with the senior, a lot of times when people we're real close to, we may not respond as well as to somebody else. You know, have you ever coached a kid? Sometimes your own kid is the toughest kid to coach. You got to let somebody else do it. And sometimes that works better too. I think this woman that's responding well to the stroke is the same thing. Somebody else is coming in. It's not a family member.
It is really very similar to what children do. When, you know, I could tell them something and they didn't believe it, and then the teacher told them the same thing, and I want to go, really? And it is the same thing. I mean, it's true. You know, I always say it's true, I think, of any family member. Your worst behavior goes with the people who love you the most because you know that they love you no matter what.
Yep.
And I don't think that changes with age. It doesn't. Kids do that to parents. Spouses do that to each other. You do that parent-child. I think it's the same thing, that you just get a different reaction out of somebody who thinks, well, oh, I don't know you as well. I should probably be nicer to you.
A little better behaved.
Exactly. So we only have a couple minutes left. I'm going to throw the phone number out on how to reach you if somebody's interested, and we'll do it again. So if they want to more information on the Care Connections program, which is an awesome program for people who have the ability to pay, you want to call Mike directly. His direct line is 231-733-3530, 3530. We'll try to repeat that again. But let's talk real quickly, we have about 2 minutes probably, for how this connects with some other programs. You mentioned the PERS, which is the Personal Emergency Response System. We've got that housing referral. All of those are kind of under your area.
Yes. With Senior Resources, we want, like I said, we want to be able to help anybody that contacts us, anybody that needs help. Not everybody's ready to move into a home. Not everybody needs medical care, things like that. We're trying to offer that whole transition period. We have the medical buttons they can use if they just, you know, need something for a safety emergency. We have a housing coordinator that can help show the family the different options they have based on finances, you know, physical, medical needs, locations where they want to be. They can guide them through that process. And a lot of people are in that transition period. They can still stay home. That's what the companion care is for. So, you know, we know at some point they're going to move beyond what companion care can do for them. They're going to have to go to the next step. A lot of people who have companion care also do have the personal response buttons for when somebody's not there. So that whole process, and if they have to move in at some point, we can help them. In the future, if finances, things like that become an issue, Senior Resources is tremendous at that. The waiver program, things like that.
It's just an easy transition then for us to move you to a different segment of the organization.
Right.
Perfect. So we've got about a minute left, so we're just going to remind again, this new program that Senior Resources has, Care Connections, which is a private pay service, a great resource because it's overwhelming to try to figure out how to get help. And people don't, we always say they don't know us until they need us. So to call Mike directly to get that information, it's 231-733-3530. If you can't remember that, we always say call 211 because they know us. they know us well. They can always get information on this or any of the other programs. Whether if you don't have the ability to pay, Senior Resources has other programs that will work for you. We have a great team of people. These are just 2 of the fabulous people out of 70-some that work for us, working to try to keep our older adults happy, healthy, in their homes as long as they want, as long as they're able to, and to help that transition if we need it. So I'm trying to figure out, we have 30 seconds left. So again, 733-3530 to get Mike, or call 211. Thanks for joining us this month, and we'll see you again soon.